Welcome to First Impressions. My name is Carl Lee.
And I'm Jaysen Headley, and this week we're changing things up a little bit. Normally our review system is a 1 through 10 rating. This week we're going to try something a little bit different. We're doing a 5-star rating. Now, of those stars, we give 2 stars for are set aside for writing, 2 stars are set aside for art, and 1 is the mystical, it blew my mind star. So we'll kind of go through this and see how it works, and you guys can let us know if it works a little bit better than what we've been doing in the past. So why don't we start with what we got this week?
So this is what we got this week for June 18th, 2014. We're doing comics today. Oxenada number 7.
What'd you think?
It's alright.
Yeah, you know, I want to like this book a lot more than I think I like this book. Because I do like the art and I like the writing, and I think there's a lot of nuance to the storytelling in this book. But, gosh, it's just so damn predictable.
Yeah,
like I feel like nothing in this book surprises me. Like when in the book, the grandma, like, I know. And I was like, well, of course she knows. And then at the end, they have this whole thing where they're coming after you. Like, well, of course, we knew that.
And I kind of felt this way about other books like The Sword, but it was actually something that was kind of comforting because it was so familiar. But I almost didn't want to buy this book this week because, like, though I like it, I don't know if I care enough.
Yeah, I want to see it through to the end, but give me a twist that isn't so simple. Like, I feel like I've read this before. So, out of 5 stars, what'd you give it?
3.
I gave it a 3 as well.
Which is high. Which is actually very high.
No, I don't think so. I really love the artwork still, but story is starting to get a little bland for me. So, 3 on that guy. Next up.
Batman Eternal 11. I really liked this issue. I thought the art was the highest sell of this issue.
The art of this issue is
Ian
phenomenal.
Bertram. It's like you were saying, it's a cross between Frank Quitely and I thought maybe Chris Burnham.
Yeah.
It's just really great. And I mean, there was more Stephanie Brown in there, which I liked. There's more Julia Pennyworth that I like. And then the least thing I liked was probably Batgirl. But because of this artist, I actually enjoyed it.
Yeah.
But not too much happens, I don't think, right?
Yeah, here's the thing for me. I thought the art was great, but I don't think the art was so good, and this story, the writing in this issue and the story of this issue was not worthy of this art. Like, just not a lot happened. If we had normal, every other week Batman Eternal art, we would have thought this issue was kind of bland, because nothing really was going on. Nothing really changed that we cared about.
Yeah.
But the art was, the art was absolutely phenomenal, but the storytelling just didn't really match its pace.
I guess I kind of liked a little bit of the end with Selena, that whole little bit.
Oh, yeah, that was
I
good.
forgot Selena was in there too. So there are literally the little tiny little bits that I really liked. I like that they keep mentioning spoiler in each episode with
that's
Brown.
great. I'm all for that. More of that. Out of 5 stars, what'd you give it?
3.
I gave it a 3 as well.
Alright, so last week I didn't buy Original Sin number 3. I read it, I liked it, I bought it.
Whee!
Original Sin number 4. Alright, I don't think the art was as good as the last issue for some reason. Not that should make a difference. And issue 3 and 4 I thought have great cliffhangers. Not much happens in the story, just kind of bringing everybody back together. And otherwise, the last page was surprising for me, just like last issues. And I gave it a 2.
A 2? Ooh. Ooh. So what did you like? You thought the story was just okay and the art was just okay?
I liked, but I liked the last page.
Oh, okay, cool. All right, so this is another book I have not started reading yet. So The Last Broadcast.
This is last broadcast number 2. The first issue I got and I read, I really liked it. The art was kind of like manga inspired, and it had to do with urban exploration, and then it also had to do with this guy who does magic, and there's all this mystery and all this. And I thought, oh, this is really kind of interesting. And so I got the second issue, and at first I read it, I actually found myself not caring anymore because I was kind of got lost in what the heck's going on. I just wasn't sold enough on the lead to care, I guess. But then after reading it, I actually liked it a little bit more, so I'm really confused about whether or not I like it, because I even went back to the first issue and I was confused between the first and the second issue. So I don't know if I'm going to get the third, but I gave it a 3.
Cool.
No, I lied, 2.
Go a 2. Okay. Another series, you've really gotten into this recently, so Queens.
Rat Queens, like I said last week, I'm really, really, really enjoying it. It's lots of fun, so same thing as last week. It's lots of fun, and everyone should read it, and I gave it 4.
Ooh,
it's like
nice.
the highest thing I've given so far. The
That's
art's
great.
great, it's fun, it's not heavy on story, but it's all about the characters.
Awesome. That's great.
I think you would like it.
I know, I need to read it. So I've been hearing that Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles is phenomenal, and I have wanted to read it for a while, and this week Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Turtles in Time, a little mini-series they're doing, #1 came out. So because this came out, I decided to pick this up, but then I also started reading the other Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. And I will say that I read Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 1 through 10 today, and it is amazing, but this is just okay. The art is great. Like, Campbell's art in this is out of this world good. But the story is a little weak. It's like we go back in time, we hang out with a dinosaur, I make a Triceratops friend, and then we move on. Like, there's just not a lot going on. But the art alone is really, 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 really fantastic. So I am going to give it 3, and I almost want to give it 4 and just give like an extra point to the art because it's just so awesome.
Cool.
But story's a little weak, but don't let this be a judgment on the rest of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles series because like I said, just started reading it. Phenomenal. Out of this world. It's really good.
I like his art. This is Translucid #2. This is not new. 3 is out. I'm buying 2 now because I read 1 and I decided I want to check out 2. It's a very interesting story. At first glance, it's kind of like a story about Batman and Joker down the line, how they rely on each other to survive, and they're almost like best friends, but then they're also meeting for the first time at the end of this issue. And but then you kind of start to wonder, wait a minute, there's this other storyline that interweaves with it of this kid who's dealing with abuse. Like, his father is very abusive, and I wonder the parallel stories, but then I'm starting to think maybe it's coming from his head, like, because he's working with holograms, he's drawing things, he's designing some of these characters, and so the two worlds start to cross, and you start wondering what's going on. Are these people coming out of his imagination and are there, like, you know, his imaginary friends or something? And I don't know, so I'm curious enough to, you know, probably get issue 3. I gave it 3 stars.
Cool. All right. Did you read this one?
Yes.
You did read this one. Okay.
Oh, yes.
So this is The Wicked and the Divine.
Yes.
I'm going to start because this is like one of my absolute favorite creative teams. I love, 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 love Young Avengers. I can't get enough of these guys. They could write everything and I'd read it. This book is no different for me. I loved it. It was super creative. It was so different. It reminds me of Gillian's other book, which I'm drawing a blank on the title now, but he has another book that Phonogram. This could almost be like a version of Phonogram that's a little bit more down to earth with a little bit more story, and he even mentions that in his notes at the end of the book. But the art is just out of this world good. The storytelling is great. There's so much mystery, and I just can't wait to know more about this world. What did you think of the book before I rate it?
Yeah, I think it's lots of fun too. It kind of made me think of this other book where God comes down. It's called Next Testament. The difference is, though, Next Testament is really brutal and like horrific, versus this is kind of like mystical and fun, but not so much fun that's like kiddie mystically fun. It's still kind of dark. Like, the characters are gods, or at least they think they are. We don't know what's going on. But the art's awesome in it too. Yeah. And actually, I don't know, Phonogram, I tried reading it. I don't know, I never really got too much into it. Maybe it's because there wasn't a story.
Yeah, it's pretty low on story. But something I will say, I've said this before, but I've always said that Gillen has like a little wiretap into my brain and knows what I want him to write. And I've been recently replaying Okami, which is one of my favorite games, and the main character is Amaterasu. So having that god be in the story, like, of course it is, because he's got a little wiretap and he knows what I need from this book right now. So what'd you give it?
Wow. I'm going between 4 to 5 stars. I'm scared to give it 5 because that's the most you can give. But I don't know, 4 or 5.
Okay, well, I gave it a 5, obviously. If you can't tell from how I'm talking about it, I loved it.
I mean, I gave Rat Queens 4. I think it's a little bit more... I like it more in Rat Queens because it's very, very... It's the first issue right now, and it's like so tight. It's
yeah. I mean, this team has worked together a lot before, so it's not really surprising that it's so good, but yeah.
All right.
Cool.
We have here Winter World #1, Greg Rucka. I don't know that I actually normally like do I? This is not Greg Rucka. This is Chuck Dixon. I'm sorry. Because I just said that, and I was like, you know what? I love Greg Rucka. What am I talking about? No. I'm talking about Chuck Dixon. Um, I'm not normally a big fan of Chuck Dixon's, and I don't know why I gave this a chance. Butch Geist is the artist, and I normally like his art, and so the art is actually really great in here. The colors on him are really great, and at first glance you look at it, it doesn't look like much. It looks like a wasteland, post-apocalyptic thing, and it is. And you're jumping right into the story, and what's really selling you in this book are the characters. The characters seem so familiar with each other that their banter is just, it's not even important, but it's just fun to listen to and read, and you're just right in there with them, and you actually care about them all of a sudden. And I think this is a series that's coming out of a graphic novel that came before it, and I never read it, but I like the characters a lot already, and I'm totally into it. So I'm really curious about getting issue 2. It's just post-apocalyptic in the winter, basically. The whole Earth is winter.
Earth ends and it's cold.
Yeah, basically, yeah.
What'd you give it?
I gave it a 4. No, 3. No, 4. Yeah, 4. I give it a 4.
And last but not least, a very special book to us because it's the first book we ever reviewed for First Impressions. So this is Wonder Woman number 32. I love the cover, by the way. I love this cover so damn much, I can't even deal with it. What'd you think?
What did I think? Wonder Woman, You know, I feel like I'm getting, like, complacent, and I feel like every issue is pretty much consistent for me, and so nothing's really blowing my mind for some reason. I kind of compared it to Game of Thrones, except Game of Thrones light. It's not quite as extreme, and I kind of want it to be, and now I can kind of imagine, wow, how cool this would be if it were a live action or something in this type of universe. That's really what I got out of it. The art was good.
Yeah. I mean, as always, I really love the storytelling here. I love the writing. I feel like, though, and this is something I've said about Hawkeye recently, is I feel like for about 4 months now, we've been waiting for some big thing to happen in this book, and we still haven't quite gotten that, though the fight scene in this was really fun, and I really liked it, but I feel like we're still waiting for that big climactic moment to happen, and it just hasn't happened yet, so we're still kind of in, like, limbo land. Although, I will say the characters going to hell and seeing what has happened in hell was a highlight of the book for me. Like, so creepy. To see how heaven and hell have now changed based on what's happened, that was a really cool parallel I thought the book did.
Yeah. And I think I'm comparing it to Game of Thrones also because of the multiple characters, you know?
Yeah,
There's
it's
so
got a
many
very big
characters,
cast.
And so that's a really good compliment then. So.
Yeah. And I'm going to give it a 4 out of 5. It was really good. It didn't blow my mind, which sometimes Wonder Woman does. This issue didn't blow my mind, but it was really good. Really solid.
Yeah. I give it a 4.0 also. I can't talk.
So for you, what would you say was the book of the week?
The book of the freaking week?
Yeah.
Oh my god, it's The Wicked and the Divine.
Yeah, absolutely. If you can only pick up one book this week, if that's
I
how
should do
awful life is for you, that you can only pick up one book this week, pick up The Wicked and Divine. It was absolutely fantastic. I can't say, like I said, I can't say enough good things about those creators. They are so good at, not only are they great writers and great artists, but they're so good at, like, racially diverse cast, like sexual orientation diverse cast. They write everyone equally, and I love that about them, and they can just keep doing that. They're awesome. Cool. So, let us know what you thought in the comments down below. Make sure to like and subscribe, and we'll see you next week.
See you next week. Okay, ready?
I'm ready.
Okay.